Right. Hi everyone! Today we will be having a panel of travel nurses along with Jackson professional recruiters and recruitment managers who will discuss the joys and risks of travel nursing. They will be also doing a giveaway. The details are in the description of this post, but I will let them tell you more about it. We're going to go ahead and pass this on to Rochelle so we can get started with our panel. Thank you, Rochelle.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us today. We're super excited to partner with you guys. We've been a huge fan of yours for years, and so we're just really glad to finally have a opportunity to take part in an event with you. I'm Rochelle Sebesta. I've met many nurses over the years at conferences. So is Jordan Lambkin, who's also on the call. So is Stephen Parker, who's also famous from our online videos and giveaways, just in case you recognize his face. So we're thrilled to be here, and I want to introduce our team. But before I go on, I want to make sure I tell you about our giveaway, because we are going to do a drawing for everyone over the next 24 hours that comments with their most heartwarming travel nurse story. We're going to enter you to win, so you can do it multiple times. We're going to enter you to win $100 along with one of our fabulous little travel cups and a waterproof backpack. So we'll send this out to you. So feel free to start making the comments now, or you can do it when you get home or whenever is most convenient for you. So I wanted to make sure and start with Jordan, who is one of our recruitment managers that's on our call today. How long have you been with the company, Jordan?
6 wonderful years, Rochelle.
6 wonderful. I've been 7, so I knew it was a long time. Yeah. And Stephen Parker, he's also a recruitment manager. How long have you been with us?
I think about 8.5 years now.
Yeah, we've all kind of like partnered together from the beginning, I think. We also have Adam Beers on the call. He's a national recruiter with us. The nurse that he partners with couldn't be here today. She had a family emergency, but we wanted him to join in on the discussion. Adam, how long have you been with us?
I've been with Jackson for about 4 months now, a little under, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Already making an impact.
Yeah.
And then we also have Mackenzie Johnson on the call.
Hello.
Hi, Mackenzie. How long have you been here? It's been a while.
I've been here for 5 years.
5 years. Woo. Mm-hmm. And then Heather Height, who I don't think it's been a few years?
Yep, 3 in May.
Yeah. So we're so excited to have you guys. And so I would love it if Heather, starting with Heather, if you guys can introduce the nurses that you have joining you on the call today. I am going to move everything over to Stephen and Jordan. And if you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments and I'll make sure and get it to the team to answer for you. And if anyone has travel nurse questions, be sure to comment on that. Kevin McBean is going to be handling those and talking to you directly. So you can take it away, Miss Heather.
All right. Well, I have Miss Marie joining us today. We started working together last August. She was looking for a travel assignment, and we got her started in Augusta, Georgia for a COVID crisis assignment, and now she is in South Dakota, still helping out for the cause. Hi, Marie.
Hey.
We're so glad that you're with us today, Marie.
Thank you.
I want to jump in on the contest. I already have some people commenting. So how about we just say most heartwarming nurse experience? How's that work? So if you're not a traveler, totally fine. And now back to you, Mackenzie.
Okay. So I've been working with India for about 5 years now, and she is a med surg nurse. She's traveled with me in Maryland, North Carolina. She just recently got back from Arizona and helped out with us in COVID in Georgia for some assignments. But she's super compassionate, very good work ethic, always helps out with some extra hours. And I think her main quality is she's very personable.
Oh, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
It's exciting to be able to see everybody in person since we've been back at home for so long.
Yes, it is.
It's my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the introductions. That's awesome. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say, first, thanks for taking the time to do this with us. Secondly, thanks for being a nurse out on the front lines every single day and all the crazy stuff that you guys have to deal with. And then third, and most importantly, thanks for choosing us to travel with for your assignments. It really means a lot. You guys are, the heartbeat of what we do. So we just want to make sure that you know that we appreciate you every single day in and out that you are out there taking care of patients. So with all the stuff that we've had go on over the past year, we want to just start out with some positivity. And so I wanted to maybe have each one of you just tell us a little bit about your the favorite or most heartwarming experience, either as a travel nurse in total, or maybe just over the past year. Some things might be a little more prevalent over the past year, I would imagine. But maybe just the most heartwarming thing, just to start out with some positive vibes right now. So let's go. Marie, you want to start out? I think you might be. Yep, there you go.
Okay. Yes, I'd be happy to share. Like most of us who work COVID, we really do bond with our coworkers in a very special way. I could speak to Augusta, where I worked. I worked with some of the most amazing men and women in PCU and in the front line. And as a group, we developed what we called a clap out for our people who recovered and went home. So every time they were discharged, we would place their favorite song. We would clap. We would celebrate. We would record it on their phones for their families to see, so that they can send it in anticipation going home. And it caught fire. Everybody would talk about it and look forward to it. And when they were discharged, they'd have their songs planned in advance. And I just recently got a Facebook feed from one of their patients from them being discharged, and they were doing the same clap out that we did when I was there. And I can probably cry thinking about it, but there has been very great successes, and but I'm bonded with those men and women that are back there for life. I am certain. And yeah, that is the most heartwarming thing, is just to know how much we've done together, and that how many successes we did have. So that's my story. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. The experiences, the bond that you have going through that's really great. That's great. India, how about you?
Doing it so long. I've been doing it so long. I think I've bonded with everyone I worked with. But this past year has been the most difficult. But we've had good times and bad times. And my COVID assignment with Mackenzie, I started working at a long-term care facility for the first time in my nursing history. And it was rewarding. The first patient I lost, it bothered me because she was 104 years old. And I said she made it 104 years, and then COVID took her out. But I became close with all of the residents, and it was like a little family. And by the time I had left, we had 0 COVID cases left. So we said we went in there and cured the place, and our season was over, so it was time to move on. And I still keep in touch with everyone there, and was even invited to a live stream wedding for one of the employees, which was so wonderful because it's my whole travel experience over these 5 years have been so memorable and so wonderful. And I'm just like the Jackson family, because everywhere I go, I represent Jackson Nurse, and I call Mackenzie anytime to let her know what's going on. And they even handle stuff that she's not even the recruiter of. But there's nothing that she can't do that I think she can. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be a part of this family. And I was happy. I think about the day that I got the phone call, because I had been thinking about traveling. And when I got the phone call from the agency, I said, I'm going to do it. And I have not regretted a day, not a day. And I tried to talk so many people into doing travel nursing, but mainly doing travel nursing with Jackson, because it's changed my life. It's changed my life, and I'm so grateful. And Mackenzie, I had never met her personally, but you can't tell nobody she's not a part of my family, because everyone knows Mackenzie. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you all and to have survived this past year, because it's been difficult. It's been difficult. But whenever things get rough, I call Mackenzie. She kind of talks me off the ledge, and I'm okay. Yeah.
You bless our heart, India.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is. It's amazing. That's all I can say. It's really amazing. It's been amazing 5 years, and I'm looking forward to so many more. Yeah.
I know this wasn't planned, but I wanted to ask you, and Marie can answer as well. Would you say your relationship with your recruiters are the most important when it
Yes.
comes to working as a travel nurse? Or
It is, because I worked with other travel nurses from other agencies, and just to hear how they interact with their recruiter, I just can't even relate. It amazes me. You know, they really can't talk to their recruiter, or the recruiter is not available to them, and I tell them I can't relate to that, because I have never been not able pretty much to get in touch with Mackenzie some kind of way, and not get a response back. And I tell him, I said, no, it's not supposed to be that way. So I couldn't have picked a better agency. And I mean that from my heart. And Steven, had never met him. I had a bad experience at one of my assignments, which I did love the assignment, but I got hurt on the job. And next thing I know, here come this beautiful plant to the apartment, from Steven and the crew. It's just amazing. It's amazing. I get flowers. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I really am. And then just to see you all today, it's overwhelming. It's over, because I'm finally being able to see the face to the names. And that's so wonderful.
You're making all of us tear up. So
I know.
that's not what we expected.
Making me tear up. I am. And I'm old. So I am. Mackenzie, let them know how old I am. Yeah.
She's been nursing for over 25 years now. So I said she has almost the same experience in nursing as I do in life.
Yep. I've been
Not
nursing
possible.
30 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I will be 56 next month. Yep. And I keep up with the best of them.
Yes, you do.
I'm telling you, the young nurses, they don't have nothing on India. Because every day I go into work, I'm happy. I'm happy. I've come through a lot in life, and this has just been the most awesome 5 years. So you've chosen a good agency.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think I've talked enough.
We appreciate it.
That's why when me and Mackenzie get on the phone, I think she knows. Don't think that she's going to call me just to talk about work. No, we don't do that. We talk about everything. She knows my family. I know her family. That's how it is. That's how it is. Yep.
I feel like I've met your daughter, even though I haven't. But we've been able to talk about her enough.
She talks about Mackenzie like she knows Mackenzie. It's amazing. You would not believe this relationship here. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you know. If my girl goes somewhere, I gotta go with her.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
This is my family too.
I know. And it's a big family. Because whenever anything happens, Mackenzie, you need to look into this. I know you're not the recruiter, but it's something going on I don't like. So we need to look into this. And that's how we are. Yeah. So it's amazing. It's an amazing relationship.
Yeah, I would say we're a good team.
We are. We're a real good team. Real good team.
This might be a good chance, Stephen, if you want to jump into maybe some of the biggest myths about travel nursing. I think India and Marie have hit on some of the best things about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if you guys could take over with what are some of the biggest untruths told about travel nursing, or biggest myths, or things that just don't add up?
For me, I think a lot of times they think that they can jump into an environment and um, without any preparation. I think that and I've had just a few where they're like under a year and they're like, I'm ready to travel. I think sometimes they need to understand that there has to be some experience, at least experience everything once.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, when you do travel, that you have a foundation in which you can build from. And I just saw a very young travel nurse, and she just stressed herself out. And because she was under a year, she was only a grad nurse. She was like maybe 6 months, 8 months in as a brand new nurse. And I think I've seen, and honestly, there are some nurses that, like my charge nurse that I worked with in Augusta, she was sharp. She was only a year in, but she had such a great skill set that she was able to adapt and do very well with it. So it's individualized. Each person has their own skill set. They have their own, their own preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think travel nursing, they just need to be able to trust their recruiter and work with them and to know exactly what's a great fit for them. And I think it's a great experience. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I too have a great recruiter. Heather's been awesome, and she knows my skill set. She matched me perfectly to where I needed to be. She knows, and I've been very pleased with each of my assignments, and she's been like a wonderful safety net for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And I was nervous first coming into it, even though I have probably about the same amount of experience as India does. I mean, I've been in nursing for close to 30 years myself. So I have a lot of experience under my belt, but I think, each person they just need to find their right niche, and they can do very well in it. So I don't know if
That
I've
kind of
answered.
leads us.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did. It's also led into another one. What would you say the top 2 or 3 traits that you should have as a travel nurse are as you go into your first assignment?
For me, I think humility,
Mm-hmm.
being able to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Every environment, every hospital has their way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't go in with any. I want to know exactly how do you do it here, and make certain that I fit with that group of nurses.
Exactly.
And so humility is the biggest, and then flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to mold my experience to my new environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I went ahead and did a TR band for a radial cath, and they have a different syringe. I want to know exactly how do they chart. I ask tons of questions. I don't assume I know, and I make certain that when I do it for the first time in a new facility, I'm doing it their way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my personal experience.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, what about you?
I really agree. You when you go in, you have to really be flexible and be able to work with people. Not everyone can work with people. I don't care if you are a nurse. You just have to be able to jump right in, fit right in, and not get into those politics that's going on the unit that you're on. Yeah, you got to stay out of that. You can hear and not hear. I hear so much, but it stays with me, and I just keep going. You can't get into everything that's going on the unit that you're on, because I always tell people I'm only here for a season. I'm not full-time here. I'm here for a season. I'm here because you needed help. And that's what I let them know. But you do have to sometimes speak up, because some places will see you just as the agency nurse, and some of the nurses on the floor will have like a little attitude because you're coming in there and they're thinking that you're making $1 million. And so you have to learn to adjust. I've never had an assignment where I couldn't get along with people. I make people speak. I make them talk. And then after they see my personality, they just automatically take to it. But the big thing is not going in there kind of like with attitude. And I just let them know, hey, I'm here because your facility needs help. And I'm so grateful to be here. And, then you can just fit right in with them. But my big thing is don't get into all that stuff going on in that unit because it's always a lot. And they always want to pull you in so you be on their side. But you just kind of like up front, no, that's none of my business. So that's my big thing about with traveling. And I also agree that most of the time the new nurses coming in, they have already worked healthcare. So some of them do know how to do things, but I don't recommend coming to as a travel nurse right from nursing school. Because when you go onto an assignment, the expectation is you already know everything. They're just showing you those little 1-2 days of orientation, their paperwork, their procedures, how they do things there. They're not actually orienting you. So you have to be able to go in and start right away because you're actually there because they need a nurse, not someone that they have to orient. So I'm kind of stuck on nurses need to have at least a year of experience to do travel because you have to be able to jump right in with no assistance. So I'm kind of stickler for that. And I'm a stickler because I think nurses need to do Med Surg for a year before they go to a specialty. But that's another thing. I'm old. So. But that's the big thing about travel nursing, and the myths and all of that. You're going to hear them. But I just let them know I'm here for a season and I'm here because you needed me. And just let them know that you're grateful to be there. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Because I tell them up front, I'm going to have a million questions. So let me know if I get on your nerves. So that's the big thing. So, okay, take it away.
Awesome.
I agree with a lot of everything she said, and it's spot on. I think that a lot of I know there's so many people who are growing. There's a growing interest in travel nursing.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful because with nursing we need to be able to grow, and once you start becoming more comfortable where you can float to anywhere in your hospital, and you've done everything where you feel confident doing, all your skills, then yes, that's at that point in time, that's when you can start really inquiring,
Right.
But, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, but you have to have those skills under your belt. Have to.
Addiction.
And because if you go into a hospital and you don't know, they're going to talk about you. They are going to talk about you like something terrible.
I have seen that in the travel nurse groups. I have seen that in the travel nurse groups on Facebook. I don't know if you have, but it is not flattering.
You're going to be known as that travel nurse. That travel nurse don't know how to do this. That travel nurse. So when I go in to make sure I make the agency look good because
exactly.
I'm a stickler about talking to the new travel nurses because they come in because of COVID and the rates have been so high. I have to explain to them, this is just COVID. This is not going to last. So don't expect to be getting all this money every week like you think you're doing now. This is something that we've never seen in nursing. So I have to explain all of that to them. And then I get tired. I need some of y'all pay, cause I am really I'm a big stickler for you all. Yeah, I get real
India's really
upset.
good about bringing people under her wing, especially if they're new nurses or new to travel. She is good about kind of showing them the way and how it goes if it's their first assignment.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And I've met quite a few new nurses because of COVID, this being their first assignment. And then I get real excited when they tell me they're from Jackson. So then, I have to really step up and like, oh no, this is not how we do this for Jackson. I called Mackenzie on one of my assignments because I was upset. And I was like, I don't know who these nurses recruiters are, but you're going to have to find out. And I'm like, as though she don't have enough work already. But yeah, but I'm all for wherever I work, trying to be a good example. Trying to be a good example for where I'm working at. Yeah.
I think my last is they called me the work mom.
Oh, I'm always the work mom.
I always had extra caffeine. I always had the Motrin, the Tylenol,
the
extra meal.
Always. It must be something about us travel nurses. I'm always mom.
I always watched over the young nurses. I mean, I couldn't help it.
Yep.
Because I had the most experience on the floor. So yeah.
Yep.
I was the work mom.
Yep. Yep.
So how do you, throwing it up to another question for you guys that you've sort of led us into, how do you cope with being in a new location where you may be regarded as that travel nurse? Hopefully not, but we can't control that. You're away from your family most of the time. What are your coping mechanisms?
I build into my contract some time to go home, where I work a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the end of the week. Of the following week, so I have a 7-day stretch, and I just plan my trips home so that I'm working my schedule, but I guarantee that at least once 4 to 6 weeks I have a light at the end of the tunnel so I can go home and see my family. Especially since I'm in South Dakota, my family are in Florida and Georgia.
Oh,
so I know I have to plan in advance to do that, and that's what being away from them for so long. Because I've been here since January, and I checked with my manager. I'm like, what do you think? Can I do the manager I'm working with in the unit? This is what I would like to do. What do you think? And they kind of say, yeah, you put that in your contract. We can guarantee that won't be a problem. And they do. And they're happy because I work my hours. It's not that I'm asking for time off. I'm just trying to build it into my schedule every 4 to 6 weeks. So that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, I kind of, like, on my very first few days on an assignment, I will talk to the manager, kind of get to know the manager. Some assignments I actually come back home. Some of them I don't. Depend on where I am, how far I am away from home, and what's going on, because I do work. Sometimes I'll tend to work a lot of hours, but the big coping thing is being able every now and then to come home. And just sometimes when I can't come home, my family end up actually being the nurses I'm working with. So that's one of the good and bad parts, because traveling and my family not being with me, sometimes I get real lonely. And now since COVID, things have been closed down, made it harder. So I put more hours on my phone, FaceTime my daughter all the time, just constantly talking on the phone, just finding things to do. Um, Even though they're opening things back up for COVID, I still don't trust it. So when I'm not at home, I'm kind of like just finding something to do. I read a lot, watch a lot of movies, like television, but try to get home as much as I can. And right now, I'm fortunate because I am home. I'm home on vacation, just finished my assignment, and will probably be working here in Maryland. So that's something good for me to make it even kill. But I try not to go too far away from home when I do travel, because I want to be within distance of being able to get home in the case of an emergency. Because my sisters and brothers and all, they're older. And just in case something, Lord forbid, happens, I want to be able to get home fast. But being all the way out in the New Mexico, Arizona area, that was the kind of like the farthest I had gone. And it was rough because nothing was open because of COVID. So I mainly dedicated my time to working. Yeah. So my coping is working, I guess.
We
How
appreciate it.
I also, I mean, I do, I go, I rent room. And so I usually will have roommates. Like currently, I've developed friendship with a tenant that did the room to me, her and her brother. So they are wonderful support system for me, even being home. And I'm now searching hobbies I can do in this area of South Dakota, because Rapid City is absolutely gorgeous. So I am sightseeing, like driving everywhere right now, but it's been enjoyable. Yeah, gotta look outside the box.
That's what I was going to ask. So what do you, like, what do you think was the most exciting or neatest adventure thing that you never would have done if you hadn't traveled, or anything like that on a specific location?
Just traveling.
Rapid City is amazing. Just driving. I mean, I have seen Custer. We went to Custer Park this weekend, both Jonah and my tenant and I, and we saw buffalo, and those things got so close to my car. I was so nervous driving through them because they're larger than life. I mean, they really are. And so I think, to me, that's been the highlight of my trip so far here. But it gets you outside of your comfort zone, and you discover things you've never in a million years would ever think you by traveling, and I've fallen in love with Rapid City, South Dakota. I really have. Yeah. So.
And you don't see buffalo in Florida or Georgia, right?
Nope.
Not intentionally.
Right.
Yeah. Well, mine is just traveling itself. That was beyond. That wasn't my character at all. I was a wife, a mother, and a nurse. That's what my life consisted of. And my life turned. My husband and I separated, and my daughter said, "Didn't you say you always wanted to travel, be a travel nurse?" And I said, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's just not me." And my very first assignment was in Roanoke, Virginia. And I remember as soon as I drove there, and when I saw the mountains, I started crying. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. My daughter went with me to start my first assignment, and that was my very first time living on my own. I was at like an extended stay, and it was more like an apartment. And I remember saying to my daughter, "This is the first time in my adult life that I've had my own place." And just to travel alone is something that I would never had imagined that I would be doing, and loving it. I love doing travel nursing. You know, even my church, "Where you at now? Where are you now?" And it kind of makes me feel even more important, because it's like me going into a new assignment, and here comes super nurse, because you're short staffed, so super nurse is going to come and I'm going to help rescue you. And it's the best feeling. It's the best feeling. I'm independent. I bought my first vehicle with just my name on it. And little things like that is important to me. And I know, had I not been doing this, number one, being a nurse, and number two, being a travel nurse, I wouldn't be where I am. So I do thank you all for that, because you took me out of a shell that I was in my whole entire adult life. And just like
That's
I said,
great.
I was 50 when I started traveling.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it just means, I think it means a little more to me than it does like the average person, because I've seen where it has brought me from. And I'm grateful. I have a different meaning to grateful than a lot of people, because when I say I'm grateful, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. So
That's
thank you.
awesome. No, thanks for sharing. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Really great. So since we talked about it a little bit, let's talk a little bit about dating while being a travel nurse. Maria, I think you got to lead with this
Yeah,
one
you
here.
take that on, Maria.
All right. So my career as travel nurses took a little bit of a hiccup. I started with Jackson. My very first assignment was about 5 years ago. I was single for about 8 years. I was divorced. I was single for about 8 years, and my first assignment was in Arizona, and I ended up meeting my current husband there on my first assignment. So yeah, and so we were both from Florida, and he was displaced in Arizona as well. He took a job there, and so we met, and ended up getting married and settling down in Arizona for about 2 years. I can move back to East Coast. So when we finally moved back to East Coast, I told my husband after we settled in and we got our things together, we went, well, now it's time for me to go back to, and are you good with me traveling? He said, sure. So yes, I'm back to traveling. So yeah, travel nursing did bring me, my life, I have to say. And it was wonderful. And he's very supportive of my journey with travel. My first assignment was close to home. This assignment is much further, but like I said, I plan my trips home very regularly. So we're
That's
able to.
wonderful.
I wonder what kind of personality or what kind of traits does your partner have to have in order to support someone like you in travel nursing? Because I think there's a certain type of person that it takes. Am I wrong, or what are your thoughts?
My husband is very supportive. He's very strong, and both of us, we were in our late 40s when we met and married. So we're pretty much two independent individuals who love to live our life together, walk side by side together. And we're very like-minded. So I think that is why it works really well for us. And his support has been a big element. Mind you, I've tried to talk him into doing a career change so he can work from home. And maybe we can take this on the road. But that's still a work in progress.
Maybe I can help with that. I'll talk to him for you.
Yeah, well, mine's completely different, because I am single. When I meet someone, I just this is my career,
Mm-hmm.
And I think I always tell people once you turn 50, you kind of don't have that filter. So I'm like, you take it or leave it, because this is what I do. So mine is different. Maybe that's why I don't have a husband. But I tell them this is what I do, and hopefully they accept it, and if not, well, wasn't meant to be, because I'm doing what I want to do. First time
I've
in my
heard
adult life.
I've heard talk of some of travel nurses wanting to launch a travel nurse dating group. I don't know if those are out there. I don't know if the apps have been developed for it, but you might be onto something.
I'm telling you, because it is a hard, meeting people when you're traveling, and some people just don't understand why you do that. And and they kind of figure, well, you have a friend now, so why are you still traveling? Because I told you this is what I do. So yeah, so it sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm good.
Thank you both for sharing on that little bit more personal detail on your lives. We appreciate it. And I think we've said this many times. We really appreciate you both for joining us, and really all of our nurses. This last year has been pretty crazy for everyone, and you guys have been angels in the healthcare field. So as we sort of start to narrow down on time, I kind of wanted to take it back to, how has COVID in the last year sort of affected you as a travel nurse, or your travel?
I think it's really affected. When it first hit, I was here working on the oncology floor, and just couldn't believe it. But during the whole year, it's gotten me closer to my faith, because it is something very scary. Just paying more attention to myself and family. It's played I've cried a lot because I've lost people. Some of them I remember, like Thanksgiving, going into one of my patients' rooms with the doctor to tell her there was no more we could do for her. And it bothered me because this lady just kept saying, I don't even go anywhere. I don't even go anywhere. Somebody from her family brought it to her house. And things you never forget that you see.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I just pray about it and talk to my daughter. And I think eventually, I keep saying, all the nurses that work with COVID patients are going to have to get some psych help, just to have somebody to talk to and just get counseling, because it has been the hardest year in my career. I never would have imagined a virus like this hitting. And it bothered me when people said, well, you should, this is what you do. You should have known. No, nobody. No one would ever imagine anything like this happening over here. And for us to lose so many people. We're used to losing some patients, but not like we have for the last year. And we used to always joke about, the family members get on our nerves. And even truthfully, when they first said that family couldn't come into the hospital, oh my God, it was like God sent. We were so happy, because sometimes the family worries you more than the patient, but we never imagined it was going to last this long, because then we became the family and the last faces that a lot of those patients saw. And just to hold their hand, to watch them die.
It's an important thing that you do beyond just patient care, the emotional care that you give to these patients, and we know that you do. And a lot of people don't see it. You guys answer to a lot of people every day. You answer to the administration and the doctors and the nurse administrators and the patients' families. And they don't always, and probably rarely, take the time out to see you and what you're really doing. And it blesses us that you talk about that right now.
Yeah.
It's important what you do. And weirdly, I just remembered that we actually have in our benefit plan for our nurses mental health help, and it's no additional cost. And that's exactly why, because this is tough stuff. And some of the assignments you guys have are going to be in such tough environments. You got to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And talk about it to people who understand.
Yes.
Because like sometimes when you talk to people that don't have a clue, they don't want to hear it. And they just don't want to talk about death or
Right.
the possibility of dying.
Yes.
You know, so that is the hard part.
It's a tough conversation that people don't ever want to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important that they have someone that understands it, that they can talk to openly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a gift to people in that way, because you force them to face what they have to face,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just the medical care. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, I know we don't have much time left in this, but Stephen said we appreciate what you do, but we mean it. I mean, we know we're on the other end. We're on the easy end of it. We just find you the assignments and we send you on. But we know what you face every day. That's why we came up with that super nurse graphic earlier in the year and put that on shirts, because that's how we see you. And you amaze us every day, what we know that you face and what you tell your recruiters. And thank you for being open with us about this today. I had a couple of questions from the comments, if you don't mind. Someone asked about, this was my favorite, and the recruiters can answer this because India and Marie already know. They wanted to know, is there an age limit? Is there an age limit to travel nurses? Does anyone know what the average age is of a nurse today? Does anyone know?
Mm-mm.
I do, because I'm in marketing. Anybody?
Let's hear it, Rochelle. What's your average age?
50.
I think that makes sense. A lot of times we see the newer travelers who are still young. They're got their year or two in. They're single. They're taking the opportunity to kind of go different places. And then the next big group we see is typically those who their kids have left home, or their kids are older and they don't have to be in the home anymore. So they get to live the India life about themselves and get to know themselves and grow as an adult too. So that makes sense, Rochelle.
Absolutely.
But to answer the question, there is absolutely no age limit at all. Anybody is willing and able to go on the assignment. Absolutely none.
Experienced nurses who are ready to do it, like India said, ready to hit the ground.
That's right.
There was another question here about insurance, and we can talk about Jackson's if you want to, but I think this is good for the nurses to talk about. Can someone give this, Deborah asked, can someone give me some idea on how nurses handle health insurance? So how do you two handle it? Do you take it through us, or do you keep a private insurance on your own?
I have my own private through my husband. So, but I do have the long-term, short-term disability insurance there now.
Great.
Yeah. And a life insurance. But as far as the health insurance, I have it through spouse. So I don't have the health insurance through there.
And I'm the same way. My husband, I have my health insurance, but then I have the short-term, long-term insurance,
But I do tell nurses, because it used to be so many years ago when you went through agency, you couldn't get insurance or anything like that.
Right.
But I'd let them know now, nope, it's your full-time job. You can get insurance. They actually take taxes out, because it used to be where agencies didn't take the taxes out. It was your responsibility to put them to the side. But they take taxes out and have all the benefits of you working in a facility, a hospital, anywhere. It's just that you're more or less working through the agency, but that's your full-time job, where you can get insurance and all now.
Right.
And that helps a lot of them out, because they were thinking that, you couldn't get insurance, no time off, anything like that. And I do explain as much as I can. And when I can't explain something, Mackenzie gets the call.
She likes it.
Yeah.
we've got about 10 minutes left. I wanted to make sure there's a couple people on here that have asked about traveling as a couple. So the recruiters can answer this the best, but they're saying they want to start not too far from home to begin with, nothing new. That is a common question that we hear. But how realistic is that? What are the traits that they need to have as a couple if that's something they want to do? Does anyone want to grab that?
I can comment on that a little bit because I've worked with quite a few groups of travelers, whether they're dating or they're friends that want to be on the same assignment. And I always make sure to let them know that there's no guarantee and making sure that we have 2 assignments at the same hospital. But there's always a possibility that we can make it work. The best opportunity for them is to be open. If they're open to schedule, if they're open to location, it'll definitely branch out more opportunities for them. But if they're set on like one city or one hospital, it just might not be a guaranteed workout. But if they allow us to be able to find those positions that do have multiple opportunities, then we can make it happen. At least I have made it happen in the past. But it's just a matter of being open. You might not be scheduled the same days of the week. You might work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and your friend to work other days of the week. But it's definitely something that's possible as long as you're open.
I was going to say, yeah, just some flexibility. It will help. Even if we can get you in the same city, maybe not the same hospital, that's worked out for me sometimes, or something, kind of what you're talking about, Mackenzie, just having some flexibility on scheduling and stuff. But it can happen. We can make it work. And depending on specialty too.
Have any of you had traveling couples in the past?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the cool thing, and I think India, you kind of touched on it with the relationship, is the longer that you do this, you get to be a part of some pretty big life experiences. So we've had people meet on assignment. We've had nurses who get married. A couple that worked for us a few years back, they just announced they're having a baby. So it's pretty cool. The relationship is also a big part of why I'm still here, why I'm still doing this, because you just meet some really great people along the way, and they really do become your family. Even, our team of recruiters, Rochelle too, everybody at Jackson, we're a big family. And so to have more people in our family is just great. So
I would love to close this out with the final few minutes. There was a question that I went ahead and answered in the feed, but Marie and India, what would you say are the most important characteristics to have in a recruiter? So if a nurse is looking for a recruiter and they fill out a form and they get a phone call, what should they be looking at? What's really important to know that this is the recruiter that's really going to be the one for you?
I know if once I start talking to someone, I can kind of like tell if we're going to fit together. And to see the availability. That's really important because, like I said, I've had assignments where things didn't go well. But even if it was on a Sunday, I knew I wasn't out there by myself. That makes so much difference. The availability of that recruiter, just how we interact together. I have to be able to feel comfortable talking to you. And I think that's my biggest thing, but I can tell, just starting a conversation, pretty much if we're going to click together. And
I'm sorry.
It has, it's worked. I couldn't ask for a better recruiter. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
I do. I love her. This is one of my daughters. I love her. So.
That sounds like an important relationship in that it should be personal. It's not just professional. It's actually, what would you say, Marie?
You have to be able to know that they can relate with you, and that they have, because I know Heather has, and she's always been there for me. I've never felt like I've been put out there and was, placed in an assignment, then I was let go. She makes certain that I'm taken care of. that if I have problems with trying to load, oh my goodness, she's had my back like from day one. So it makes a huge difference when you have a recruiter that's invested in you as much as you're invested in them. And that is more valuable than anything else. So yes, I agree with everything Leah said. And yeah, I find the same thing in health. Every time she kept talking about her recruiter, I was nodding my head because I was like, I have had the exact same experience. I feel the exact same about it.
And I think
Thanks, Marie.
that's the characteristics of the recruiters at Jackson.
Yes.
Because I have worked with other nurses, and on one of my last assignments, she worked with another agency, and she just said she was on her own. And that gave me an anxiety attack. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I said, so you can't get in touch with a recruiter at all? And she said, no. And I was like, wow. And I even said to her, you might need to talk to me about where my agency I'm at, because I'm never on my own. I can pick up the phone right now and call, and somebody's going to answer, and somebody's going to be there for me. I just couldn't wrap my head around this girl being out there. She said, oh no, I'm on my own.
Stephen can tell you, our recruiters get up, walk over to credentialing, walk over to payroll, and they walk to marketing to say, hey, how come my gift hasn't made it to their house yet? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So they say it much nicer than what I said, but they're always staying on top of what's going on because their nurses are their favorite people. So we've only got a couple minutes left. So I want to make sure I kick this back over to Rachel, and I want to make sure to remind everyone to enter our contest. So you can be a part of our $100 giveaway and our cup giveaway and a waterproof backpack. Just share a heartwarming story. You heard India's and Marie's in the early part of this, made us all tear up. So share a heartwarming experience as a nurse. We'd love to hear about it and enter you into the contest. You've got 24 hours. So send the link to your friends. And I can't thank everyone enough for being a part of this today. You guys, this means a lot to us, and just being a part of Gypsy Nurse and their effort to reach out to the community of nurses like they do, constantly innovating, constantly thinking of new ways. And we really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate you all too.
Yeah. And we appreciate you guys all so much. Jackson, you guys are amazing. You guys have been with us for the longest time. I've been here for about 5 years. I think you guys have been here about not as long as that. So it's fun to see each other grow. And Marie and India, thank you so much for what you guys been doing. We can't thank you enough for, everything that you do. It's just amazing. And I hope you enjoy your new assignments that you're going to be going on soon and all that. So, all right.
Thank you.
You guys.
All righty.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.